With the All-Star Game coming up on Tuesday as baseball prepares to honor its best, we're taking a look back at the original superstar of the game, the one and only Babe Ruth. He took the field in Boston for his first Major League game 100 years ago yesterday.
The Bambino went on to change the way baseball was played, collecting 56 records along the way. Joining us now is the author of Pinstripe Empire, baseball historian Marty Appel. Marty, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks.
No, thank you so much for being here. So he made it into Major League Baseball at 19, but his backstory was really interesting to me, that he was dropped off at an orphanage at age 8 by his own dad.
One wonders how incorrigible he could have been at 8 to be dropped off at this home for orphans and incorrigibles, but that was the case. That's where he learned to play baseball, though, and that was his ticket out. And at 19, he gets signed by the local minor league team, the Baltimore Orioles, and they wind up selling him to the Red Sox that same year.
I mean, this is a guy whose life is there's huge mythology surrounding it, yes. And you yourself say his life was shrouded in rumors.
Well, let's say record keeping about his ancestry and everything like that was sloppy. It wasn't really as efficient as it is today. So there's a lot of questions about his early life and his background and everything. But now he's come to be like the most well-known sports figure of the first half of the 20th century.
Which is an extraordinary achievement because media was very limited in those days.
It was newsreels that made him, because ultimately only the President of the United States and Charlie Chaplin were better known than Babe Ruth was in America. Mm-hmm. And that was largely because people would go to the movies and see newsreels and see the Babe every week.
We saw him throwing a little bit in that imagery there, and he actually originally was a pitcher.
He was a pitcher, and they found that he was a great hitter also. So he still stands unique in baseball history for having been both a great pitcher and then a great hitter. There's really nobody else quite like that.
But we talked about how he changed the sport of baseball. When you look back, what did he do that was so different?
Well, he made the home run his signature. And everybody I've ever met who saw Babe Ruth play would say, oh, and I was there the day he hit the longest home run I ever saw. The mythology just grew with him, but the record was there too. In 1920, his first year with the Yankees, he hit more home runs than any other team in the league.
I mean, of course, the decision by the Red Sox to sell him to the Yankees is probably the most famous deal in baseball, yes. And of course, one of the worst, as it turns out. Why would the Red Sox have wanted to get rid of him?
There was still a feeling that, well, that's not the way you play the game. And there were baseball purists who would say, he's destroying this beautiful game based on singles and sacrifices and stolen bases. So his kind of baseball didn't appeal universally. The owner of the Red Sox, who happened to live in New York and produce Broadway shows, Harry Frazee, also wanted to raise money for his Broadway productions. He saw an opportunity to sell Ruth to the very wealthy Jacob Ruppert, who owned the Yankees, and accomplished the deal.
Lots of rumors about Babe Ruth. Tell us about little Johnny Sylvester.
Well, Ruth was great with kids. He loved kids. And in the 1926 World Series, Johnny Sylvester was a child who was hospitalized. He was ill. And his father, who was a vice president of a bank and I guess connected, wrote a letter and asked for autographed baseballs from both the Yankees and the Cardinals. The letters were signed in St. Louis. The baseballs were signed in St. Louis, air-mailed back to the boy, so he had them during the World Series. And on the Yankee ball, Babe Ruth wrote, "I'll knock a homer for you." And he wound up hitting 3, and little Johnny Sylvester survived. In fact, he lived till 1994. So that added to the Ruth mystique. It was the tabloids of New York loved that story.
It's also fascinating just that his legend has survived after so many years. Marty Appel, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.